Huntington Beach. Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss, the #1 seed, are ready to take on a new team that, by the way, came through the qualifier and they had very little experience playing alongside one another, but nonetheless scratch and claw their way into this main draw for the Huntington Beach Open High Run of Cameron Irwin alongside Rich Lamborn. And this might be a first, an AVP first, and that's the fact that you actually have sleeves on your arms, and I do not, because, you know, clearly I got a little extra something. Just saying.
Well, I mean, you're bringing the guns. We got to let you show them off, right?
Why not? Why not? But Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss have just been an absolute force to be reckoned with since they have gotten together on the AVP. The first event that they ever entered, they won the entire thing, and since then they have just been so deadly. I mean, when you're facing this #1 seed, what do you do in terms of an attack mode as you're coming in with the 16 next to your name?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, just to touch on Taryn and Kristen real quickly, I mean, there seemed to be no learning curve for them, right? They came out of LSU, hit the sands, and started winning immediately, not only domestically but internationally. If you are Kinna and Sowers, I think you have nothing to lose, right?
Yep.
It's lay it all out on the sand. We're going guns blazing. We're not expected to win, so let's just get out there and give it everything we got.
They got nothing to lose. They're facing off against this #1 team, Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss. But let's get to know these athletes better. Here's Mark Sherman with your introductions.
All right. Wow, we had our first 3-set match. It was a great one, and I'm looking forward to another good one here. And we have got a story over here. I need to hear more about this. All right. We got Devin and Marine. Marine, can you take your glasses off really quick? I swear they're sisters. They literally look like sisters, but no, they don't even know each other. They met like 3 days ago. They played in the qualifier yesterday, and now they're in the main draw. And for this young lady, her first ever AVP main draw out of Tatum, New Mexico, and now New Orleans, Louisiana, she is Devin Sowers. Yep. Welcome. Good job. And her partner, I believe your second main draw, is that correct, here on the AVP? Yes, originally out of France and now in Hermosa Beach, California. Give it up for Marine Kinna. Literally just met. Wow. Speaking of teams that had success shortly after they met, this pair out of LSU had an incredible college year together. Oh, my goodness. It was pretty great. And they're fun to watch out of college, too. They will be fun to watch at the Olympic Games coming up in Paris in a few months as well. This first player coming out of Metairie, Louisiana. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Kristen Nuss. And her partner. You always look happy, but today especially, it's a new year on the AVP. Yes, it absolutely is. Also, congratulations, the newly engaged, ladies and gentlemen, out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She is Taryn Kloth.
Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss. Congratulations to Taryn. Also to Julia Scholes, recently engaged. A lot of life happening on the women's side. Also, we talk about new moms in that last matchup. We also have to go give some love on the side of Emily Day Capers, as this last year she's also had her first. But a look now to the 1 and 16. You said the 16 seed's got nothing to lose. Kinna and Sowers on the right side of your screen. Kloth and Nuss, the left side. Products of LSU beach volleyball. A force to be reckoned with, even from the service line. Kristen Nuss might be one of the most fun players to watch in the women's game.
Yeah, I mean, she absolutely is, not only for what she does on the court. I had the opportunity to be at a tournament at LSU a couple months ago and speak with her, and it was fascinating to get kind of the insight into the mind of somebody that plays the game at such a high level like she does. Just how she thinks about things, how she's trying to manipulate matches as they go along. It's really, I mean, it's a pleasure to kind of get inside the minds of elite athletes like that.
Well, then you have some homework, as there's that infamous cut shot from Kristen Nuss. When something pops up in this matchup that maybe was a part of that conversation and some of the ways in which she attacks this game, you got to give us that conversation and those talking points, because it'd be so fun to get the inside scoop on Kristen Nuss. She's got quite the ability to scoop the ball herself. Tough service pressure for the #1 seed. Good chase, full layout, Kristen Nuss. And another. That reminded me of like a basketball game. Somebody setting a screen, right? Yeah. Trying to find the hoop. Just getting blocked out.
Yeah, that was trying to work your way around Jokic right there for Kristen Nuss. A lot of effort expended for not a side out.
Hey, Jokic, 3-time MVP, right?
That's right. That's right. It's and a good screen setter, as was Taryn on that one.
And another cut, Kristen Nuss. When you watch her, she's somewhat undersized is what we'll say, but with that cut shot, sometimes it can actually almost benefit her. She can sneak that cut underneath the block so effectively.
Well, her vision is unparalleled, right? And then her execution obviously accompanies that quite nicely, and that's why she's such an effective side-out player, even at her size.
It's a nice swing on the side-out. Sowers and Kinna.
Yeah, this is still quite truly the honeymoon phase for this duo that just met 3 days ago, according to Mark Sherman's intro.
Something you said about that honeymoon phase, though. Everything working in their favor through the qualifier to earn the right to be here in the main draw. They played 3 matches to get in. The last was against Jen Ketty and Amy Ozzie, 21-18, 21-17. They did have a 3-set battle against Anderson and Kahn, taking that 15-11.
Yeah, that's wild when you work your way through the qualifier. You go through all that effort the day before the main draw starts, and what do you get for your efforts? You get to play the #2 team in the world. So, you know, thanks for coming out. Here's what we have for you.
With these heritage events, there'll be a difference heading to the contender events. Different format actually taking place. Here's the chase for Kristen Nuss. Works with a waterfall, the short line shot. There's the big block. Taryn Kloth, the shot blocker.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great stuff happening there. That little waterfall shot, as you call it, I love that terminology. Mike Dodd, the great Mike Dodd, calls that kind of maintaining the advantage. Kristen knows she can't kill that ball, but she puts it in a spot that keeps the defense kind of on their heels. So they still have a little bit of an advantage on their side. Just excellent heady stuff from Kristen. Yeah.
There's another big block. We go from one fantastic blocker in Alex Kleiman to another 1 and 2 seeds in Taryn Kloth.
That is one of the things that Kristen talked to us about, is kind of trusting your partner and being aware of what they're doing kind of in synchronicity, which these two do so well, right? Taryn taking away her side of the court, not leaving little cracks for the offense to work their way through.
Kristen Nuss, the 3-time All-American out of LSU. They were the pair of the year. Talk about continuity. They have plenty of it as they played together back in 2021. She had 139 career victories. One of the winningest players in NCAA beach volleyball history. That is Kristen Nuss. She stands at just 5'6".
Yeah, she is at the top of the conversation for, you know, pound for pound best player kind of a thing, right?
Yes.
Because she maximizes every bit of that 5'6". Yeah, I love, one thing I love about Taryn and Kristen, and also Kelly Chang, Sarah Hughes, that we'll see a little bit later, an example of this as well, I think. These pairs that come through the collegiate ranks and are so successful and kind of so dominant, they get the habit of winning ingrained in them, right? Which is, I think, why they're able to make the transition to the professional and international ranks so quickly and so smoothly, because it truly is a habit.
It's a muscle to be trained, right? Yeah. The expectation is there along with the confidence, and these two, it was so fun when you think back to the first title that they won on the AVP. That was the conversation. They came in with kind of limited expectations. They came through the qualifier even to earn the right to play in the main draw and then work their way all the way to that final. But continuing to grab confidence with each and every win along the journey.
Yeah, obviously there's a big bump in level, but situationally things are going to feel familiar. We've been in big matches, whether it's, you know, an NCAA championship kind of a thing or an AVP championship.
And Sowers on the side out, finding a good one.
Yeah, Taryn and Kristen doing a nice job of just being very workmanlike in this match. Not taking anything for granted. You can kind of pick which version of this expression you like. I had a coach that would say the best way for you to respect your opponent, which every opponent deserves your respect, of course, is to go out and beat them down. You know, another way I've heard it said is the best way to respect your opponent is to show them none. Right?
Yeah, it's fair.
Taryn and Kristen doing a nice job of that here, just not pulling out just enough to win. They're really going after it and playing their game out here, and they're going to make it tough on Maureen and Devin, I think.
And I think you also create opportunities to kind of find your footing here, right? You have a team that's played already one day through the qualifier, one just getting their first match here in Huntington. I like that Taryn Kloth was trying to go after her jump serve. That was an area she was working on in 2023. She was also looking to find the option a lot more frequently last season. It'll be interesting to see how it's utilized in 24.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely. That's something that's becoming more and more a part of the game, and certainly something that Taryn and Kristen want to take advantage of. That is phenomenal stuff.
Well, and how about that footwork too, right? Considering the fact Taryn Kloth kind of shading over, taking a shuffle step, and then finds her footing right back in front, and then blocks back in to cover that.
Yep, that's excellent eye work and excellent footwork, as you said. Oh boy, what a layout dig, Kristen. Good one from Maureen as well. Gets it, the little lefty layout from Maureen Kinna. That is one thing that Kristen talked to us about, being a little bit undersized. Obviously, we know she digs any and everything, it seems. And then the challenge is to put those balls away for points, right? Which doesn't come quite as easily to her as it might to some.
And as you see them sitting here in the technical timeout, this is outrageous, right? These are the top 5 teams in the world in terms of their rankings. You've got Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss sitting at that number 2 spot. Melissa Humana-Paredes, Brandy Wilkerson, I also highlight them as they are in action in the Huntington Beach Open, as is Kelly Cheng and Sarah Hughes. A big congratulations to Sarah Hughes, earning the right to call herself an Olympian for the first time. Kelly Cheng will play alongside her come Paris in her second Olympic venture. But 3 of the top 5 teams in the world in the women's game playing in the Huntington Beach Open.
Yeah, it's wild. We have a little bit of a sort of reversion to the origins of beach volleyball, in the sense that Brazil and U.S. kind of dominating the top of the table on the women's side, right? 4 out of the 5 teams from those 2 countries, and Canada picking up the slack.
Yeah, it's like the days of old. Men's side is a little different, right? We got all sorts of names in there.
That's right, yeah. If you're not from Scandinavia, you're not at the top of the list on the men's side.
Probably the most ironic thing ever, right? Like, take some of the coldest countries in the world and make them really good at beach volleyball.
Yeah, it is not what you would think. And certainly if you're just a casual beach volleyball fan, you would be surprised to hear somebody say, yeah, we're playing Sweden and it's going to be the most difficult match of our lives.
Quick snap down on the side of Sowers and Kinna. You mentioned Sarah Hughes, Kelly Cheng. They'll be coming up next on our stadium court coverage.
Yeah, for Kinna and Sowers here, I think it's just throw everything against the wall that you can at this point. They're trying jump serves. Obviously, that's kind of where rallies start. You've got to serve tough to try and get a team like Taryn and Kristen off of their comfort level.
If you were facing off against Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss, potentially, let's say last year, where would have been the serving target?
I'm a big fan, just generally speaking, of kind of the middle sideline alternating service approach.
Okay. There's another good shot.
What's going to happen? I agree with you there, of course. What's going to happen when you do that is, hopefully, if you execute it properly, you're going to keep the team you're playing off guard a little bit. You're going to force, especially if they have an option offense, both players have to be worried about whose ball that is in the middle, and they start to squeeze a little bit, and then you try and work the sidelines to keep them honest and kind of spread them back out and go back to the middle. And that way, you know, you're going to end up serving maybe a couple balls more than you would like at Taryn, for example, because she's going to take ones that kind of float her way. But I think it just adds a little bit of discomfort to a reception when you're not entirely sure whose ball it is to take.
You might be able to get her just out of system enough to get either a touch off the block or maybe find that dig and transition that you need. Maybe 1 out of the 3 times, but nonetheless, you're moving that pressure around.
Right. And that was a nice swing there from Sowers. Yeah, you know, it used to be the short serve used to be kind of a go-to, especially if you had an undersized player, but players now so proficient at getting there, getting that ball up high for their partner to come whack onto. It's almost a disadvantage to serve short at times if you don't disguise it well enough.
Yeah, we saw that in our second match of the day. There's a quick snap from Taryn Kloth. That short serve can create havoc, and not in a good way.
Sowers is wearing a shirt that says Gnarly Barley. I suppose that's a...
Sounds refreshing.
Yeah, a beer reference?
Perfect shot down the line. Marine Kinna.
Beautifully placed.
She's 24 years old, originally out of France. Resides in Playa del Rey. Spent time at Lynn University as well as Loyola Marymount.
I love those little wrinkles that Taryn and Kristen are adding into a little shoot set out to the pin for Taryn. I mean, when you're squaring off against the Dudas and Anna Patricias of the world, you can't have a vanilla offense.
Set point here. Taryn Kloth with her fingertips earns a block. One more added for Taryn Kloth. 21-11.
A little bit disheartening there because it was great patience from Sowers to wait for that bounce off the net. Great set. And then Taryn just plays spoiler at the net, as she does so very often.
Taryn Kloth, just 26 years of age. Spent most of her career playing indoors, actually, through college, as she spent 4 years at Creighton University. She was an All-American outside, then went over to LSU. Started playing some beach volleyball, and it has just been an incredible trajectory for her. We always talk about the learning curve from indoor to beach, and I think that was one of the most exciting things when you consider this duo, is just how high they could go when we first saw them, knowing that Taryn, and she herself spoke on it, had so much room to grow.
Yeah, it's wild that you can have a whole entire great indoor career and then just make the shift and be as phenomenal as she is, and so quickly.
A la Alex Kleinman, April Ross. You think of so many that did it because of necessity, because there wasn't beach volleyball before. And Taryn Kloth creating just an incredible opportunity now on the beach side. Again, after transferring to LSU and finding her partner in Kristen Nuss. They went 50-0 as a duo in 2020 to 2021.
It's a decent record.
There's a look to some of the numbers. 733, near perfection for the #1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, that right there is part of that learning curve you were talking about, those little beach type plays. She pulls off the net, Taryn. It comes kind of softly at her, so she closes the fist and goes double fisty tomahawk. Right? I mean, that takes some, some time on the sand to get those kind of contacts down when you come from an indoor background. You got to credit Coach Drew Hamilton as well for training these ladies so very well.
Training out of Louisiana. One of their primary sponsors as well, always wrapping it on the top of their hat.
I don't know if you've been down to that facility at LSU. It is stunning.
I have not gotten a chance to head that direction, but I've heard about it. But I feel like that's a new angle. That looked like a different swing for Taryn Kloth.
Yeah, that's like you have to achieve some certain level before that angle gets unlocked, because I think most mortals don't have access to that one.
No. I think that's a 6'4" and above type of swing.
Yeah.
Catching not just the edge of that one, but maybe the front of it as well, all the way wide of the court. Quick tempo. Baby cut.
That is so good. Changing the depths on your shot, so very important, right? Because you could see that Marine was in nice position for the normal cut shot that goes wide. Kristen just chops a little bit off of it, drops it in front of the defender.
Is there a better cut shot on the beach in the women's game?
I don't think there is.
I don't think so either. I think it just belongs to Kristen Nuss. There was also something I remember watching about Kristen Nuss in terms of her reaction time as a defender and how she compares to, we'll say, even other professional athletes from different sports. And her first step is one of the best. And this is a perfect example. She chases that down and now has to try and find a little something as that second contact went well over the height of the net.
Well, I got a little ding in the sand from Marine. I think she hit her toe on something. Maybe bottomed out. Yeah, it's talk about the sand monsters jokingly at times, but you can kind of get some turf toe in there as well. That looks like everything's okay, though.
How does Huntington compare in terms of sand to, we'll say, like a Manhattan Beach or Hermosa Beach?
Yeah, it's not quite as deep here. I know players often talk about sort of jumpers sand, and Huntington would fall in that category because it's not quite as deep, so you know your feet and your legs don't sink in as much when you try and spring.
Extended rally here, trying to find the high ball into the deep corner, but instead it's Kinna and Sowers tying the score 4-all.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice dig, because we've seen Kristen confound defender after defender with that loopy jumbo shot. Sowers got back on it nicely and hits the perfect cut shot.
Also fun to note, Kloth and Nuss clinching a spot to the 2024 Paris Olympics. A huge accomplishment for these two. Feels like just yesterday they began their path on the AVP.
Yeah, it's a little bit wild because our women's side has been decided for quite a while. Obviously, Kelly Chang, Sarah Hughes winning the World Championships, they earned their way straight in. So they've had that locked up for a long time now. But Taryn and Kristen actually ranked higher than them in the world. We saw that graphic. They're the 2 seed internationally, so they've got their spot locked up. Several of our top men's teams not in the field this week because they've got to still battle it out for the remaining spot on the men's side, and that is typically how it goes, right down to the wire battles, and it's excruciating if you're involved in that, and it's nothing but fun if you're a spectator and you love volleyball, which we all do. But nice for the ladies to have that wrapped up and kind of be able to manipulate their schedules how they feel best so that they can go into Paris all cylinders firing.
There's no question that has been the goal since they came out on the AVP and have been traveling internationally. They actually have even worn bracelets with TKN 8/11/24, and that date actually marks the closing ceremonies of the 2024 Olympic Games, a date that both of them hope to be standing atop the medal stand in Paris.
Yeah, that's you love those little kind of inside goals and motivational stuff from teams, right?
Nice snap there from Kristen Nuss. They also have great chemistry between the two of them. They're even roommates as well. It's one thing to have a beach volleyball partner, but They really are doing life together as well.
I'm going to guess with the recent engagement that will soon be changing. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just get a 2-bedroom house. 8-6 here. Kloth and Nuss still leading.
Yeah, pretty nice response from Kinna and Sowers, however. Kinna, excuse me. Work on my French pronunciation.
Oh, that's pretty good. So good to have you back,
You
Rich.
just have to pucker your lips up a little bit.
Roofed.
And we saw a lot of that in the last match, too, with Newberry and Whitmarsh versus the A team. You get something too close to the net with the likes of Taryn Kloth or Alex Kleiman at the net, and it is SWAT City.
I like SWAT City. Is that right next to Surf City?
Yeah, we are in Surf City.
I know. So is that north or south of us is the question.
That's a good question. I'm going to say north because it's up top, right?
Fair. Winner of this match will either face the 8 or the 9 seed. 4 p.m. on our stadium court coverage. Whoa, nice pickup. Kinna. Sowers retreats off the net. Recovered once again, Taryn Kloth from the top floor. That's what you call straight down.
Yeah, that's fun from our angle too, right? Because it just kind of seems like it's coming right into our living room. She goes right down the chute and thumps it.
You knew as soon as that ball came out of the hands of Kristen Nuss on this set, it was going to spell trouble. Oh, the on one. Dig to kill.
Yeah, we oftentimes credit that to Laura Ludwig, who's kind of the originator of that over on one shot, but that is becoming more and more popular, especially when you're such a great defender. You've made such a perfect read where you're already standing where the ball is getting shot. The defense, well, the offense, not ready for that ball to come over that quickly.
Sarah Hughes also very well known to use that on one. Right now I'm taking a look at the bracket in terms of some of the paths for these teams. We just saw Alex Kleiman and April Ross pick up a win. They are, of course, on the opposite side of the bracket of this #1 seed of Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss. So they would not face off until potentially that championship, unless both of them or one of them took a loss. Of course, this is a double elimination format until you get to Championship Sunday. And a look now to the outside court. This is a play-in match to that 4 p.m. match I mentioned. The winner of our current stadium court will face the winner of this match. Rodriguez at Durango. Gosh, so good to see Tony Rodriguez back out on the court. Emily Day Capers and Zana Muno. Also, so fun, Emily Day Capers, one of our new moms. Last time we saw her was back in 2022 on the AVP. And Zana Muno, she's up there on the list of probably one of the most fun to watch as well, as in terms of defensive players. We've got so many amazing defenders on the women's side from the United States.
M. Day is one of the longest standing athletes we have out here.
She is.
One of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. I love her, but to be honest, anytime I'm getting Italian food, I'm holding the capers.
Oh my God.
No offense.
So you just stick with M. Day in that case for you, and then you'll be set.
I want to be respectful. I'm going to hold the capers.
I was like, where are you going with this? That one really took me. I was along for the ride, though, with you, Rich. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think that was a long journey, not a lot of payoff.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's what you get for getting a dad joke from somebody that's not actually a dad.
There you go. Haven't perfected the craft yet.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. Into the technical timeout. Kloth and Nuss again with the advantage. A look out to our outer court coverage here. The match we were just discussing on the right side of your screen tied up 14-all in the second set. And here's a fun one for you. Alison and Corey trailing by 2. David Lee, he's back on the beach. I'm not sure who's quicker to find the sand legs. Well, for sure him or Kim Barnett, right? Getting the return of Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin has returned. Whether or not he's found his sand legs yet is up for debate.
Did he ever have them?
Well, if we're talking about legs the same color as sand, then
yes.
He's there.
Except for right now.
That's right. That's right.
If you're wondering if Kevin just has a nice glow about him, that is not real.
Yeah.
That is produced.
If you thought Halloween had come early.
Got a little extra help. As you take a look at the schedule, we mentioned the heritage events, Huntington Beach, Manhattan Beach, as well as Chicago. There's also contender events taking place this year, but it's all leading up to the league. Come the second week of September, 8 straight weeks of action, the best volleyball on the beach that you will see.
I'm fired up for the league.
I'm so excited.
But God, I love all those heritage event stops. Manhattan,
we're getting the
Chicago,
best of both worlds.
That's true. It's as good as it gets, Cameron. I don't know how it could get any better.
It can't. I'm just thinking about like very well-rested athletes getting to focus in on a singular match.
Yeah.
That is insane to me. What will that look like? Nice pickup. There's the on-one again. And that time, she is diving to the sand and still gets it done.
You asked what will that look like? I think that it'll look a lot like that right there.
Fair.
People making great reads, great putovers on one, like we saw from Kristen.
The top 8 women's teams and the top 8 men's teams will head off to the league. If you win a heritage event, you're in. Get to play alongside your partner. You're not switching up necessarily. But
yeah, in the NBA, you know, they work in like all this rest, and you know, you might go to a game and not get to see the superstars play because they're trying to rest their body. I forget what they call it. We've just built that right into the league. You're getting 1 match a day. All the best athletes are going to be well rested. They're going to be playing at the top of their game, like you said, and you're going to get the best volleyball for your money.
Oh, it's going to be lights out. Speaking of lights out, Kristen Nuss staying shallow in her defense here. Her partner pulls and picks it up. Rich is shaking his head. He doesn't know about that one.
No.
Just impressed.
I'm in awe, yeah.
Closing it with the cut.
The spike dig, the tomahawk set. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Who doesn't love a good spike dig? I see your hit and I raise you a hit.
That's right.
Ooh. A little extra hold on that one.
Yeah, and this is just, you know, I mean, this is what can be so frustrating when you work your way all the way through a qualifier just to face the top seed, is you're hanging tough at the beginning of the second set, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's 18-9.
I just got a nice anecdote in my ear. This one's coming for you, Rich. Right after this point, there's Kristen Nuss again. Scoop and deliver. Somebody apparently in the comment section saying that you might be the John Madden of broadcasting. How do you feel about that one?
I like it. Our physiques are similar. I like a turducken on Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh. All right, so you're gonna wear it.
Yeah,
I
mean,
why not?
Yeah, there's much worse that you could aspire to than being John Madden. He's one of the greats. I appreciate the connection, whoever made that. I'll take it all day.
Probably your mother.
yeah. I always fancied myself more a Pat Summerall, but.
Gosh. Push set. And forcing the defense to have to play the length of the court. Sowers and Kinna trying to fight their way back in.
Yeah, as is so often the case, I mean, there's been some bright spots for Sowers and Kinna, right? But Taryn and Kristen just do it so consistently that it's just relentless. The kind of the top tier teams and then that tier just beneath them, that always seems to stand out as the major difference to me, is the consistency with which the top tier teams can execute.
Executing at a high clip now at match point. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss.
Ooh, Spader.
And straight into the sand, an ace. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss. There was only one hitting error on their side of the net. 15 and 13 kills individually for Taryn Kloth and Kristen Nuss.
Yeah, just a phenomenal performance. Check out their coach. They obviously, we know they come from Louisiana. There's a lot of flooding issues at times, and it looks like he's ready, even in Huntington Beach.
We got to get a shot of Drew. Those are some swaggy pants.
The swaggy Jordan capris. Gotta love it.
Come on now. That's what you call style. That's a fit right there. Yeah, his pants are about the same length as most of your sleeves.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. Taryn Kloth, Kristen Nuss with the win. Again, a really impressive performance, statistically speaking, as they were lights out from an offensive standpoint. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights. They came with some strong service pressure to start. It was very clear that they were ready to roll from the beginning, but also the block of Taryn Kloth. It's always going to be a force. It's just a matter of when, and she had it going from the early phases.
She absolutely did. You know, and you wouldn't on any level say that Maureen and Devin played poorly. It's just the relentlessness of Taryn and Kristen is kind of what won the day. 11 and 11. I mean, you felt like you looked up and this match was over.
Yeah, no, I think we only sat next to each other for about 20 minutes here.
Yeah, you're praising the Lord for that.
Rich, come on now. You know I love sitting next to you. There's a look at the numbers, 27 in total for the kills now. These are the official at the end of the match. Just one error, as I mentioned. 5 stinking blocks. And yes, they're stinking blocks. When you get more than 4, they become stinking.
Especially in an 11-11 match. That's a lot of blocks.
And 2 aces with just 4 errors from the service line. An outstanding performance from the #1 seed as they move on to the second round here in the Huntington Beach Open.
Coming up next, here on Stadium Court, we got number 14 seed, Macy Jerder, alongside Megan Rice. Taking on number 3 seed, defending champions here in Huntington, Sarah Hughes, Kelly Chang. Sarah Hughes, Kelly Chang, also the first time they're here on the AVP stand after taking home the World Championship. Jake Hughes, Jerder Rice coming up in 10 minutes.